Coming up at 4:30, breaking today, a deadly school shooting in Nashville. The gunman was killed at the scene, but what new details set this event apart from any other? Plus, Mississippi had its worst tornado in a decade, but new weather developments say it could affect weather here in Oklahoma. And the weather may be nice outside today, but will it continue to look like that coming up? Your full weather forecast and more on this edition of UCentral News. Welcome to this edition of UCentral News. I'm Brady Gray.
And I'm Edmond Jones.
A 28-year-old woman killed 3 children and 3 adults at a shooting at Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee. Police fatally shot the woman shortly after. Nashville Police Department's Don Aaron gave the details.
The police department response was swift. Officers entered the first story of the school, began clearing it. They heard shots coming from the second level. They immediately went to the gunfire. When the officers got to the second level, they saw a shooter, a female. We know that she was armed with at least 2 assault-type rifles and a handgun, who was firing. The officers engaged her. She was fatally shot by responding police officers. There was a 5-member team who was on the second floor at that time. 2 individuals from that 5-member team opened fire on the shooter.
Yet released the name of the woman as the investigation is ongoing.
And a parent of a student at the school wanted to send a message to lawmakers demanding change.
These shootings and these mass shootings will continue to happen until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation.
Joe Biden calls on Congress to pass assault weapon bans.
We have to do more to protect our schools so they aren't turned into prisons. You know, the shooter in this situation reportedly had 2 assault weapons and a pistol, 2 AK-47. So I call on Congress again to pass my assault weapons ban. It's about time that we begin to make some more progress.
And we mentioned these red books a little bit last week with the flood warnings, but these are the Guide to Emergency Procedures books. They are in every building on campus and in most classrooms. So we're going to open this up. This just gives you a list of tips and tricks that you can use in any sort of emergency.
Everything is simple from slips and trips and falls all the way to the active shooter warning on campus. You open that up, there's several things that you can do to evade in a situation like that. Barricade yourself in a room, push any furniture that you can against the door, perhaps lock the windows, close the blinds and curtains. Many sort of things that you can do to protect yourself and others in this situation in the event that a ongoing shooter situation is happening on campus here at UCL.
Yes, most definitely. Better to be safe than sorry. And at least 21 people are dead as western Mississippi deals with severe tornado damage. The massive storm system affecting up to 30 million people stretched from the lower Mississippi Valley to the lower Ohio Valley. At least one large tornado struck Rolling Fork in Silver City at about 8 p.m. Central Friday night. Multiple homes in the area are damaged, with one resident telling CNN that Rolling Fork has been obliterated.
It comes after the Weather Service issued a tornado emergency, the highest level of tornado warning for the area. The storms knocked out the power for more than 100,000 people across several states. They also produced a flash flooding threat as torrential rainfall is expected across a large swath of the U.S. stretching from Oklahoma to West Virginia. Nearly 19 million people are under flood watches across at least 8 states in the mid, south, and central regions.
And again, we have tornado information in here as well.
Absolutely. And let's check in with UCentral's weather anchor, Destiny Pittman, to see if the Edmond area could be affected by any of these storms. Destiny?
Good evening, Broncos. So yes, there are some storms in some other parts of the country, but there's a chance we'll be getting severe weather later on this week around Thursday and Friday, which I will discuss later on in the show. But currently outside, it is 53 degrees outside. There are a few clouds in the sky, but it's not too bad. It's pretty fair out. And then it's not windy at all today. The wind is blowing northeast at 6 miles per hour. And then the humidity rate currently is 41%. And because of that wind outside, it does feel like 51 degrees out. And then moving on to tonight. So tonight, the temperature is going to drop. It's going to be about 35 degrees this evening. And then it's going to be partly cloudy. So we will get some more clouds in the sky, and then the winds are going to change directions and blow east at about 5 to 13 miles per hour. But with those winds, there are going to be some gusts of winds up to 21 miles per hour. The humidity rate will stay the same, so it will still be 41%, And then tonight, the chance for rain is going to be 0. But like I said, there is going to be some rain later on this week, but I'll discuss that later. That's all I have for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Destiny. And after being inactive all winter, Oklahoma City's Ferris wheel will soon be springing into action. UCentral's Kelly Clayton has more.
After a few months of hibernation, the Ferris wheel in Oklahoma City's Wheeler District is days away from its annual opening. Dormant since the Saturday after Thanksgiving, it's about to make its premier spin of 2023.
The Wheeler Ferris wheel is open for its 8th season this year on April 1st. We'll be opening at 8 a.m. We're going to have a balloon display on the OKC letters. Starting at noon, we will have several local pop-up vendors and food trucks as well.
The 100-foot-tall wheel once claimed home to the Santa Monica Pier in California before relocating along the Oklahoma River. It has 20 carts, referred to as gondolas, which can each accommodate 6 to 8 passengers. When at the top, the ride offers a bird's-eye view of the OKC skyline.
So the only day that we're closed is Mondays. We're open every day other than that. Tuesdays through Thursdays, we're open afternoons, and Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we're open pretty much all day.
The city got the Ferris wheel back in 2008 after it was purchased on eBay. Nearly 8 years after its acquisition and over $1 million in restorations, it made its maiden voyage in OKC on July 4, 2016. But you have to ask.
So Humphrey's company bought the Ferris wheel off of eBay for $132,000 in a 10-day auction.
Giving credence to the slogan, whatever it is, you can get it on eBay. From Oklahoma City, Kelly Clayton, UCentral News.
Thank you, Kelly. And rates are $6 for a single ride, $10 for a day pass, and $20 gets you in all season.
And students can also attend the annual Health Professions Fair hosted by the University of Central Oklahoma's Health Professions Office, the Department of Biology, and the Career Development Center tomorrow, March 28th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Nye University ballrooms. This event is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn about health-related programs and employment. Local hospitals and clinics will be present.
And Governor Kevin Stitt and Secretary of Health and Mental Health Kevin Corbett held a press conference this morning to announce that the Oklahoma Health Care Authority has received approval from the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services to extend pregnancy and postpartum coverage from 60 days all the way to 12 months. This approval comes after Governor Stitt's Helping Every Life and Parent Task Force unanimously recommended that the Oklahoma Health Care Authority expand pregnancy and postpartum services for Sooner Care members. For more information, visit mysoonercare.org to learn more Sooner Care eligibility and coverage.
And one of the most popular outdoors destinations for OKC Metro residents, Lake Arcadia, is currently in discussions about being renovated. I sat down with the city's interim Parks and Recreation Director to learn more.
To some, Lake Arcadia is a popular place to do all things outdoors. Especially during COVID, attendance shot up as more people were looking to do more outside. But with that, some flaws were revealed.
That was a great thing. We had lots of people discovering the lake, using the lake more than ever. But on the flip side of that, we learned a lot of our shortcomings. We discovered a lot of the issues that we have that needed to be addressed.
Recently, the Arcadia Lake Commission met to further discuss developments and a new master plan. Representatives from all sorts of groups such as fishing, camping, and equestrian were chosen for the Arcadia Task Force, responsible for providing further input on the operation.
And so they spent several months doing a visioning process. And during that visioning process, came up with if we could do anything out at Arcadia Lake, what sort of things would we want to do?
Also, as part of the master plan process, an online public survey was distributed last month, gaining over 4,000 responses.
What we're trying to do is find the right balance between what people tell us that they want and what's realistic for us to be able to do. If you could choose 5 things that you would like to see us spend money to improve or implement, what would those be?
Completion of the master plan document is expected in the next few months and will be presented to City Council. Actual implementation would take years.
Really coming into the final stages, and we'll soon have a full master plan.
In Edmond, Eden Jones, UCentral News.
For the full list of what Arcadia Lake has to offer, visit edmondok.gov and search for lake events and activities.
A meat packer is voluntarily recalling 1.7 tons of boneless beef chuck after E. coli was found in a sample. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the product was packed on February 16th by Kansas-based Elkhorn Valley Packaging. It was shipped to retailers, restaurants, hotels, distributors, and other establishments in 9 states, mostly in the northeastern part of the U.S. and not in Oklahoma. The serial numbers of the meat being recalled can be found on the USDA website. There are no reports of people getting sick from it yet. People who bought the product are advised to throw it out or return it where they bought it. With Oklahoma being one of the largest beef producers in the U.S., this could have a lasting impact on beef prices here.
And it has been really beautiful outside and sunny these past couple of days. We're going to have our full forecast with Destiny. That's next.
I was raised to believe in the power of possibility, to always move forward but never forget where I came from, to value hard work, ingenuity, and hospitality. On one hand, my people are rough and rugged. On the other, refined and elegant. They taught me how to love beautiful things and cherish my past, to seek out adventure, eat well, and to have a good time. So I keep their traditions alive every place I go. They call me Oklahoma City, but you can call me the modern frontier.
UCentral News as a whole, you got to be in those different areas, like being on camera, being off camera, being in the control room. And so I feel like that is what prepared me most about being in the workplace.
UCentral and the mass comm department has provided me all the tools and the fundamentals that are needed in order to thrive well and thrive fast at my job.
Maybe it's time to hit the road and visit a place where stories unfold. This is the land of the ultimate road trip, with sights old and new on Route 66. There's fun to be had, so much to do, and a few new surprises before you get through. Oklahoma has the most miles to share of Route 66. It's really quite rare. TravelOK.com will show you the way. Come see for yourself this iconic highway.
Welcome back. I'm just going to give you guys the forecast of the weather across the state. So as we know, it is currently spring out, but as you look at the weather here, you can see it's kind of chilly statewide. So we'll start up in Guymon. So up in Guymon, it is currently tonight will be 19 degrees out, and they also had a chance for some snow today. And then over down in Woodward, it's 27, 29 down in 29 in Clinton, and then 32 in Altus. And then over in Lawton, it is going to be 28 tonight. And then down in Ardmore, it's going to be 39. And then over as we see in Idabel will be the warmest part of the state tonight. And it's going to be 48 degrees there. And then the OKC area, as well as Edmond, is going to be about 35 tonight. So it is going to be a little cold. And then over in McAllister, it's going to be 40 tonight. Tulsa, 38. Enid, 31. And then up in Ponca City, it's going to be 32. And then tonight up in Miami, it's going to be about 36 degrees. So as you see, statewide is still pretty chilly out, especially in the evenings. So if you're just going to be out, just make sure to have a light jacket with you. And then we'll move on to our 7-day forecast. So starting with today, outside today, it was a little cloudy. There were a few clouds in the sky, but it wasn't too bad. And the temperature was mid-50s most of the day. It was about 56 currently. And then the low today was 35. And then moving on to Tuesday and Wednesday, as we can see, it's pretty sunny outside. Tuesday, it's supposed to be about 55 for the high, and then 35 will be the low, and then 65 for Wednesday's high, and 53 for the low. And then as we move on to Thursday and Friday, we'll talk about that later in the show. That's all I have for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Destiny. I'm really excited for those 70s later in the week. Don't really know about the rain, but...
Absolutely. I could do with more rain, but I'm definitely in the minority on that one for sure. But coming up on social media, Twitter has had yet again another leak. What are they doing to stop it?
And Swiftie fans are suing Ticketmaster over fraud violations. Hear what fans outside the courthouse are saying. UCentral's Emma Birch has this and more after the break.
I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah! Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at SheCanSTEM.
In the land of wonder and awe, you won't believe you see what you saw. Where there's something to do for young and for old, where stories are written and then they're retold. Visit travelok.com today. Come see for yourself and come out to play.
Welcome back, Broncos. I'm Emma Birch, and here's your social media update. Twitter says part of its source code was posted online and exposed until Friday, and that's when Twitter had the material removed from the web. Twitter source code is a trademark program that powers the platform and its internal tools. Section of the code were posted online software vault called GitHub. The code appears to be the only material posted on that account. It was posted by a user identified only by the handle Free Speech Enthusiast. The social media giant has filed for a court order to hunt down the source of the leak. It represents the latest mishap for Twitter. With a possible TikTok ban coming, many politicians on both sides of the aisle are giving their thoughts. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy tweeted that his chamber, quote, will be moving forward with legislation to protect Americans from technological tentacles of the Chinese Communist Party. Last week, the GOP representative said he supported banning the popular video sharing app in the U.S. This comes after TikTok CEO testified before lawmakers trying to assure them that China does not have access to the user data. On the other side of the aisle, Democrats have different thoughts on the potential TikTok ban. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is coming out with her thoughts on being against the ban on TikTok.
If we want to make a decision as significant as banning TikTok, and we believe, or someone believes, that there's really important information that the public deserves to know about why such a decision would be justified, that information should be shared with the public as well. But frankly, I think a lot of this is putting the cart before the horse, because our first priority should be in protecting your ability to exist without social media companies harvesting and commodifying every single piece of data about you and without your consent.
TikTok CEO Xiao Chu faced heavy criticism from both Republicans and Democrats during the House Energy and Commerce hearing last week. He told lawmakers he's seen no evidence that China has access to users' data. He says that the government has never asked for and TikTok has never provided it. Chu also says TikTok is committed to moving U.S. data onto U.S. soil where American personnel can oversee it. But it doesn't seem that lawmakers were appeased by his answers. Kanye West shared his first post on Instagram after being banned for several months after anti-Semitic phrases in late 2022. The post is a picture of 21 Jump Street movie poster with a caption saying that Jonah Hill made him, quote, like Jewish people again, making it confusing for fans and haters of the rapper to believe him after his months of hatred towards the Jewish community. And Taylor Swift fans, or Swifties, stood outside a Los Angeles courtroom today where around 300 fans are suing Ticketmaster. The lawsuit alleges the company engaged in fraud, price fixing, and antitrust violations. That's after many fans couldn't get Eras Tour tickets without paying scalpers inflated prices. They argued that the business is a monopoly and it can charge high fees. Fans stood outside the courtroom and spoke of how frustrated they are about the situation.
It's not fair what we had to go through to get our tickets. I still haven't been able to get tickets. I'm 25 years old. I've loved Taylor for 15 years, and I saved up for months and months for the Eras Tour. We knew it was going to happen. I had $500 saved, and that should have been enough to buy me floor seats for what Taylor wanted to sell her tickets for. But unfortunately, Live Nation stopped that. And so it's wrong. We need to end the merger.
Swift herself is demanding that Ticketmaster improves their future sale rules. The company is apologizing for what has happened. That's all I have today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Emma. Coming up in sports, baseball and softball are coming back home for a few matchups, and the tennis and track and field teams have had some impressive outings lately.
And the Thunder are coming back from the West Coast. Where do they stand in terms of the playoffs after the trip? All that and more from Mark Lowe with the Sports Update.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
What's going on, Broncos? I'm Mark Lowe, and this is your Monday Sports Report. This last weekend was a busy weekend for Bronco Athletics with 4 different teams competing in various locations. However, starting off here at home, the women's tennis team played host to Missouri Western. Lady Broncos got a much-needed win here by cruising past the Griffins to 5-2 with the win. The Lady Broncos advanced to 6-6 on the season and 1-1 in the MIAA. For their next match, they'll head up to Fort Hays on the 31st for a matchup against the Tigers. Track and field also stayed in state this weekend. They headed over to Shawnee for the OBU Invitational, where the Broncos showed up and showed out. The Broncos finished up the 2-day event with the 9 top 10 performances, which included pole vaulting, 100 and 200-meter dashes, and distance running. But the big story of the weekend was Shawnee Leday coming in first in the shot put competition. Well done, Broncos. The next time the Broncos will be in action will be April 7th when they head to Wichita State to compete in the KT Goodman Classic. Over onto the baseball diamond, the Broncos visited Newman for a series this weekend. The Broncos came away winning 2 out of the 3 games. The Broncos were led by Aiden Proctor, who had 3 hits, 2 runs, and 2 runs batted in. After this series, the Broncos are sitting at 20-9 on the season and 9-7 in the MIAA. The Broncos are back in action tomorrow in Tahlequah to face off against Northeastern State. Now on to the other dugout. The softball team is coming back from a doubleheader against Missouri Western. Lady Broncos suffered their 4th loss of the season in the first game against the Griffins, but came back to win the second game 7-3. They were led by Shayla Harper, who boasted 4 runs batted in and 1 run for herself. Lady Broncos return to Edmond for their first home game in nearly a month. They'll play host to Southern Nazarene tomorrow, the 28th, at Jerry Pinkston Stadium. The Thunder visited the West Coast this last week and wrapped up their trip in Portland last night against the Trailblazers. The Thunder came into the game 36-38 against a struggling Trailblazer team who is currently sitting at 32-42. The Thunder started the game off slow, even being down at one point in the first by 11 points. But a rally in the second quarter boosted the Thunder to a lead at the half. The third quarter was neck and neck and continued all the way up until the end of the fourth, where the Thunder put the game away with a turnover and a Lou Dort finish. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the Thunder with 31 points and was shooting an impressive 90% from the line. The Thunder are currently sitting at 37-38 and are 10th in the Western Conference. In terms of playoffs, the Thunder need to get some tough wins that are coming up. They return home to the Paycom Center to face off against the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow night. You can catch this game on Bally Sports. And that's all I have for your Monday Sports Report. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Mark Lowe. And we're going to have your last look at weather on the other side. Keep it here, Broncos.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back. We're going to have one last look at weather. Destiny, what's going on?
Welcome back. So as you can see, Thursday and Friday, there is supposed to be some storms. There is a chance for severe weather on Thursday. There's supposed to be some rain, and there's a 20% chance of that. The high is going to be 69, and the low is going to be 64. And then moving on to Friday, there is going to be some thunderstorms and rain and lightning. And the chance for that is going to be 30%. So if you're going to be out and about, then just make sure to have an umbrella out with you. Just make sure to have a raincoat. And then in case weather does get worse and this chance of storms goes up, make sure you know where your shelters are so you can be safe. And then as we move on into this weekend, we can see it's supposed to be pretty sunny this weekend. The high for Saturday is going to be 65. It's supposed to be sunny out, and the low is going to be 47. And then moving on to Sunday, it's going to be even warmer, and it's going to be 76 for the high and then 50 for the low. And then moving on, here are just some more weather updates I have for you guys. So like I said, there is possible storms Thursday and Friday. Just know where some of your shelters are in case that the chance of that weather does progress and gets worse. If you're going to be on campus, just know that places like the library, the quad, Murdaugh, all have basements and you can go there for shelter. So just make sure that you're aware of that and you're able to keep up and know what's going to go on. And then there's also going to be some high winds later on this week and most nights this week. That is all I have for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Destiny. And Mickey Mouse will soon be handing out pink slips.
That's right. Disney CEO Bob Iger says his company will start the first round of layoffs this week. And there are 3 expected rounds, which will ultimately impact about 7,000 employees. That's about 3% of Disney's 220,000 workers across the globe. The second round of layoffs is expected to be larger and slated for next month. The final round is supposed to happen at some point before summer.
Disney is engaged in a multi-billion-dollar cost-cutting initiative aimed at streamlining operations. And I hope people have their Disney Plus contracts nailed down now, because there's a good chance those could be going up if money keeps getting tighter for the mouse up there.
Most definitely. That's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Eden Jones.
And I'm Brady Gray. Have a good one, Edmond.